Hey everyone, Core here. Time for another midnight review, and this is the fourth one this month. I still got one more to go, and so far, been pretty good as far as all the movies. Haven't had a bad one yet. And to be honest, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie I saw tonight, was actually better than Beauty and the Beast. Just, I mean, granted, of course, Beauty and the Beast was pretty much a shot for shot remake of the original, so there's not really much to add. Plus, they changed, the songs, so they have the actual cast, the current cast, sing the songs, from before, and they tweaked them and changed them a little bit, so they don't quite sound as memorable as before. But nonetheless, yeah. So Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I've been a big Power Rangers fan since the original series. I had a lot of their toys. Unfortunately, I pretty much got rid of most of them. I still have one or two guys still hanging around. Not too many though. That's just whatever's left over from uh, my grandparents and stuff. They find them when they're cleaning out their stuff, and they give them to me. But but yeah, it's I I didn't have any high hopes going into this movie. From the trailers and stuff, it looked okay. It didn't look too crazy. I mean, it is Lionsgate. Lionsgate usually does pretty good stuff with the whole Universal brand and everything, and it does show with this movie. I don't know the director too often, but um, it was interesting. A lot of his camera choices, a lot of his techniques that he used, it actually fit really well. I do think I, I think they might have cut one or two scenes, not too bad. There's one scene towards the end that you could tell they cut a scene towards the that kind of connected towards the end, but more or less it was a really well edited, really well filmed, even acted as far as these teenagers are concerned. They all did a really well job. Um, really well job, a really good job. uh, but yeah, as far as actors, they did really good. The only one I kind of had a little problem with was the guy who plays Zach, the Black Ranger. Uh, he he was good until he was in the suit when he had to act. You know, as far as impacts and grunting and sounding, joyful. They all sounded very forced coming from him for some reason. Everyone else did a really good job, and it works pretty well. The suits are mostly CG. There are a couple scenes where they're actually in the suit, um, which the CG actually looks quite wow. I mean, it's quite wow. It's quite good, to say the least. When they're in the suits, it almost looks like they're there. Uh, Mostly because some of their movements and stuff kind of look a little off, but as far as the CG in it, it is really well. Um, it is really well. It is really good. But yeah, it's what else? What else? Rita is interesting to say the least. As far as her background, a lot of people called it, I think, and I called it, which is not a spoiler because it's right at the beginning of the movie. She is the Green Ranger. Granted, in the original series, she did create the Green Ranger, and Tommy used him against the other Rangers. Pretty much kicked her ass. Um, but yeah, pretty much from the get go, she starts off Green Ranger. You see the Green Ranger suit, which looks really cool. Kind of wish I had that golden shoulder pad thing, more prominent, but it still looks pretty cool. It is They do set up the Green Ranger for a sequel, which I actually look forward to a sequel. So there is a mid-credit scene. As far as the ending scene, I didn't see anything on our end credits. I don't know if they cut it early or whatever, but I don't think there is one. From what I've seen, I haven't seen anyone talking about an end credit scene. So there is a mid credit scene, which is pretty cool. It does link to the Green Ranger because, yeah, you kind of noticed the green coin that she uses in the end kind of disappears. So that's pretty interesting to see. I do think they could have did the little mid credit, ending mid credit scene a little better, but that's just nitpicking. As far as overall, it's a good movie. there were so many, 20, 30-year olds in there, people my age that were there just to see Power Rangers because we grew up with the Power Rangers. I mean, the kids are gonna like it. This is I believe it's a PG-13 Power Rangers, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken. It could be a PG, but it definitely, I believe it is a PG-13, which is different for them, and it actually works really well as far as like the modernizing, the characters, the place that they grow up, Angel Grove, even the bad guys and everything. It works pretty well. The main bad guy, well, the big monster is Goldar, which, you know, eh, you kind of wish it was, the giant, golden blue beast. But it's whatever. It's Rita's monster. It makes sense. Um, that is the only monster she makes besides the putties, which they do call them the putties, the rock creatures, which are pretty cool because they actually seem formidable, especially with the new Rangers, how powerful that they are in this one, which are, quite overpowered compared to the original Rangers. And it is interesting how they do the morphing grid and how they get their suit and stuff. That's when, the story actually works really well to, you know, give each character their time to give a reason to a lot of the stuff that's happening. So it's not just them, going through the steps, which, is pretty hard. I mean, you would think they would just go through the, the basic steps, but they actually work pretty well together. And yeah, it's I gotta say the guy that plays Billy, the Blue Ranger, he stole the show. He was the best thing in this movie, and I'm glad that they didn't overdo it with him. And like, his acting is really good. It's impressive to say the least of how well he acts in this movie, and he's definitely the main thing a lot of people will be talking about for this movie, as far as who's in it and everything. But overall, yeah, it's a really good movie. Bryan Cranston, yeah, he's Zordon, and it's pretty interesting how they kind of you know bring him into this into the ship pretty much, and he's not the righteous Zordon from the original series. They do make him a little more gritty and darker. He's not a Heisenberg Zordon, but he is pretty. Uh, he does have a history to say the least. Alpha 5 is actually really cool. He's pretty funny too. Bill Hader, I believe, is his voice, and it works. The one thing that I didn't quite care for too much was the when they shoehorn a lot of those old sayings. Rita saying "Make my monster grow," Alpha with his "ay ay ay ay." It doesn't sound right coming from Bill Hader. It doesn't sound right coming from I believe Elizabeth Banks is Rita. Uh, it just Bryan Cranston does sound pretty good. Calling the Rangers Rangers, the Power Rangers. He sounds well. He fits well enough. Um, but yeah, it's overall I'm very surprised at how well they did this movie. It could have been a lot worse, especially if people remember the original, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, how corny and cheesy that was, and this one actually has some heart to it. It actually has good comedy. It actually pulls off a really good movie that kids and adults should enjoy, especially the adults that grew up with it, introducing their children to the Power Rangers. And you get enough of everything and everyone to really enjoy this movie. And of course, there are a lot of little, things that they do shoehorn into this movie, but they do work more or less, to bring out the nostalgia feeling in you, and just to you know get that little extra money out of you. But yeah, overall it was a very good movie. Highly recommend it for anyone really, especially if you've seen any Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series. Go see it, especially if you've seen the original. If you grew up like me with it, you'll like it. You'll definitely enjoy it for sure, and I'm pretty sure kids will enjoy it as well. But so far, March has been really good. So far with movies. The big iffy one is coming up though next week. Ghost in the Shell. I keep seeing more and more trailers, and it looks like it should be good. But I just can't put my hopes up that high. I don't want them to get disappointed. But that'd be it for today. So until next time, guys. Later.